blessings be to everyone. You're looking at the Underground Railroad, and we come on every Saturday night at 10:30, but this is a special edition. I'm working on some changes with the Underground Railroad, and I'm going to be more inclusive instead of having panels dominated by men, which I will admit, I'm a little male chauvinist. But you know what? But I'm going to change some things because you know what? If I want to broaden my viewership, I cannot continue to do the same things that I did last year and bring them into this year. So you have to improve, and you also have to sit back and listen to people too, because when people give you criticism, it's not quite often really too much to hurt you. It really helps you if you take it in a positive manner. But you're looking at the Underground Railroad, but we normally come on every Saturday night at 10:30, and we come on YouTube. And you know what? It's a pleasure for me to have a lady of elegance on, intelligence, and she has her own television show. And you know what? I was expecting some other people to come on, but you know what? It all worked out the way God wanted it to work out. You know, so it says that we try to understand things, but God is the best understanding, the best knowing everything. So, you know, I want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the Underground Railroad television show. I want to thank your husband, because I want people to know I talked to her husband because before I even went to her, because my religious system tells me that I just can't go to his wife without going to him first. But that's just me. So tell us something about yourself, and thank you for accepting the invitation. And we're going to talk about women issues.
Yeah. Cliff, thank you so much for having me on here. You know, you've been talking about getting me on here, so I'm finally on here on your show. And the show is what it's supposed to be, and that is a conversation between me and you. So this is an honor and an opportunity, and I really appreciate it.
And you know what? This show, more or less, since I have been neglective of tackling women issues, I want to hear from your grand scheme of things and your perspective. Because, of course, we different genders. We don't share the same experiences.
No, we don't.
Okay. But first of all, tell us about your show, and you're author too.
Yes.
And you might want to touch on your book.
Yes. Well, the name of my show is Today with Audry Kay. And on my show, what we do is we get on as many positive and uplifting guests as we possibly can. And the reason why we do this is because we're a part of a ministry called Christ Alive Worldwide Ministries. And what we believe in is giving people with talent, because we believe that the only place true and real talent comes from is God. So we believe in giving people with talent an opportunity to come on and express themselves, whether it's dancing or singing or writing. This past summer, we just did a series with playwrights, and a couple of them, yes, and a couple of them, they were able to do 15 minutes or so of their plays that they wrote, and they were definitely great, and they were from the Chicagoland area, because we do want people to see what kind of talent we have in the Chicagoland area. So we do that, and we also, I just love singers and dancers, and they usually come on and we have a conversation about their journey, because everybody has a testimony, and part of your testimony is your journey. Should I say part of your journey is your testimony? Part of your journey is your testimony. So we love having those types of guests on our show, and we just, every year we have a waiting list.
Just had LaDonna Tittle on too.
Yes, we had LaDonna Tittle on, Miss Ethel from the Shy. Yeah, we had her on, and we also we're gonna have Shay Rhymefest, he should be coming up. We're going to do a men's show with him because he's written a documentary, or he's a part of a documentary called In My Father's House, about how he found his father after so many years. You know about that?
I'm going to learn about it. I'm going to learn about it.
He found his father after so many years and found out that he was homeless.
Okay.
So it's yeah, so it's an exciting year we got coming up.
Okay, turn up, talk up. Okay, telling me to talk up. I assume.
All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so I can't. You could just tell me.
Keep talking.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, it's all right. And you know what? Every single male that I have that comes on my television show, I always ask them, what has their wives done to help them? Has their wives put them in their right place when they got out of character, when they thought more of themselves? And I would like to turn around and ask you, how has your husband been supportive in your endeavor, y'all endeavor? And does he put you, I'm not going to say put you in your place, keep you grounded when sometimes you might get out of hand, but that may not happen to you, though.
Well, I keep him grounded.
Okay.
That's just good way to put that in there. Yeah, yes, it's definitely, to me, in order for a relationship to work, you have to be somehow involved in each other's lives. You just can't be living two separate lives and expect to have a cohesive relationship. And one of the books, well, one of my books that I wrote just recently is called Why Christian Women Are/Should Be Sexy. And that is, let me get this, hope I get this right, intelligent, effective, all that good stuff. So it's not about being physically just some kind of way. It's about a mental thing. It's about an emotional thing. It's about having a relationship with God. So in that book, I do talk about how women should actually interact with their husbands, because we all have different needs. Men have different needs, and a lot of women, they don't want to admit that men have different needs. They want to view them a certain way and not really address or tend to the needs of a man. Just like some women, men, they don't want to admit that women have different, needs. And different women, they have different levels of certain, things that they need in order to feel like a happy and productive person. So I wrote this book basically because I want women to understand that you can love God. And when you love God, that in itself brings out something that's just, it's a light in you. It brings out a joy in you. It brings out happiness in you. And that filters over to your husband, to your children, to your job, to your church, your synagogue, or whatever, because that is a part of what's appealing.
But how has he helped to ground you? I'm saying, how has he helped being your, maybe I didn't ask the question in the right way. How has he helped to enhance and to embellish your life to make you greater than what you already are?
I think that being a
Mr. Brown.
I think that being a Christian woman, I think that you kind of already have to have that, and I think that this is true for any woman. I think that a person, your husband, can add to your joy, they can add to your happiness, but they should not be responsible for it.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people, that's where they go wrong. It's like they want to make their husbands or their wives responsible for their joy. That joy has to come from inside. That confidence has to come from inside. Now, people can, a man or a woman, they can tear it down or they can build upon it. And I'm just fortunate, just by the grace of God, to be in a relationship where my husband, he helps build it up and not tear it down.
Yeah, a lot of people become jealous. Some partners become jealous and envious of their partners sort of overachieving.
Well,
I overshadowed some partners. I'm talking about people with small minds.
Right. Well, the thing about that is that when you're like that, then you need to examine yourself. What are you missing personally in your life that you could, that you need to address? Because jealousy comes from a place of dissatisfaction.
You say that we all can be jealous to a certain point.
I think that there are different types of jealousies. I think there's a jealousy that's just, there's a jealousy that, like, God is a jealous God. In other words, he wants us to serve him. He wants our love and everything. And I think that that's a good jealousy, but I think that the negative end of that jealousy situation could be people with low self-esteem who don't feel worthy. So if they feel like if they don't feel worthy, then it's okay for them to bring a woman down or to bring a man down so that they can feel like they're on an even playing field. So that's a lot of times what happens with that negative aspect of jealousy. But people, we definitely want, and we need somebody, hey, you are mine, you are for me, we're for each other, and we have this love that's between us that nobody else in the world should share. That's not to say that we should just be in our own little world. Me and my spouse, or a person and a boyfriend or whatever, that does not mean that you should just be in your own little world. Although you do have a world that you share that nobody else is just totally and completely privy to.
Y'all, this is some deep stuff. Go ahead. This is a live show, too. Call in if you have a question, ladies. Go ahead.
Yes, so I think that there's a difference in those types of jealousies on the end. And when you get married or you fall in love, you want that person for you. Most people don't want to share that person with somebody else. Most people, they want those compliments to come from that person, so they're jealous for those compliments. They're jealous for that acceptance. They're jealous for that love that's only shared between those two people and nobody else. Even with the kids, there's a level of love that I share with the kids, my husband shares with the kids, and then us combined, we share with and for the kids. Okay? So even that does not enter into that sacred matrimonial, romantic state that two people who are married and in love. Because see, a lot of people are married and they're just there.
Yeah.
Okay? They're just biding their time, because a lot of times it's like, well, I'm too old to go anyplace else, or I don't have confidence that I could do any better. So they're in these relationships for various reasons, and that have not been truly examined, but yet they are there.
You know what, Miss Audrey, I like to, it's really back in slavery. The slave master used to just beat up on a black male, okay? And, back when they, I don't know if you remember the movie Claudine.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, she was living with somebody and she could not continue collecting the welfare because she could not be living with this guy. Do you feel that the way black men have been abused in society and ostracized in society, do you feel as though some black women lost respect because they feel like they cannot be protected by most black men in the community, because most things that go on in the community are governed by outside forces? And they feel like they can't seek refuge, and some might even say they can't seek refuge, I join partnership with them. What's your opinion on that?
That's a very good question, and it has many parts. So I'm going to try to address one of the parts, and that is the epidemic, of slavery, and how the black male was treated, and how the black woman tends to look at the black male. I think that there's definitely some psychological and emotional damage. In Christianity, we call it generational curses that have been carried over from generation to generation because of that pain, because of that hurt, because of that suffering. It is real, and we need to realize that it is real. So it is important for Black women, first of all, to realize that it's real, but not to nurse it in a negative sense, whereas woo-woo, you know, you poor thing, but in a positive sense was, hey, you are better, you can do better, I understand your pain, you know, but, you know, to help that man with what they have to rise above all of that. But it takes two to tango, because see, sometimes you can get a man that's like that, and it's like they do not care. They want to stay there. They want to stay in that pain. They want to stay in that sadness, you know. And then if they meet a woman, just say for instance, that tries to, you know, help them out of it, they reject her. And then they go looking for the one that's going to allow them to stay in that pain. Sometimes that happens. And then you get those who are willing, you know, what they say, behind every great man is a great woman. You heard that saying?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, you know, God has a way of doing things, you know, and if you get a good woman that really loves you, that is sent by God, Allah, and whoever, that's sent by him to you, they will have the necessary ingredients to help you be a better person. That's across the board. Okay. If a woman meets a man that God has sent them, that woman, and I talk about this in my book, Why Christian Women Are/Should Be Sexy, that man will have the ingredients that it takes to deal with somebody like that person. One of the examples I want to just throw out there is like Kim and Kanye. That controversy about Kanye, he's going into his spiritual, you know, journey or whatever, and Kim, so everybody is on one side of the fence or on the other side of the fence, how she shouldn't let him, you know, tell her to do this, to dress this way, to walk this, or whatever, you know. If Kim is for Kanye, they are going to work it out.
I agree with
they are going to work it out.
You know, when
I hope that's part of the answer. Because you know it's a long question.
It's a long question. You know, this is a live show. Nobody's calling in, but they must be listening intensely, saying, "Damn, it's the Underground Railroad," because this is not usually what I talk about.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay, because y'all gonna see changes this year. You know, it's something that I would like to know from a Black woman's perspective. That Black, in some places, are seen as ugly. You have people that are bleaching their skin. You have people that are trying to do everything to authenticate that the European style is beautiful. From the hair on down to the dress. But Black is ugly. What do you say to the women that, you probably sit down, you might get mad at me, that embraces the European concept of beauty, but they abandon their own lineage in people in terms of hair and dress and everything else to try to identify with the Caucasian race because they believe it is beautiful. I was going to say hair, but that was a question I wanted to ask. They have abandoned their own culture to embrace. I'm trying to word it to embrace Caucasian because it is beautiful. Black hair is nappy, okay, because they got their hairs in the little balls and it looks Afro-Centric. I'm not talking about your hair, but I'm just making a general.
My hair looks good.
No. I'm trying to make a general statement.
I know,
but they have embraced the European culture, which is defined as beautiful, and they have abandoned their own culture.
I think,
why?
Cliff.
Why would somebody say that a Black doll is a white doll is prettier than a white.
Okay,
these are some examples.
Okay, that's another question.
Okay,
but as far as that goes, I think that cultures evolve. We used to talk a certain way back in the day. You know that because first of all, we had an African dialect or wherever we came from, and then you mixed it with the Southern dialect, and they're trying to teach us how to talk. So therefore, we talked a certain way. Cultures evolve. People, we don't even look. We don't look like we looked back then. Think about it. We don't, and I mean, certain things they just evolve.
But you don't see the abandonment of what they're.
I think that abandonment has to happen in your soul. But I think that to be able and to be willing, to embrace who you are today at this stage and what you find attractive. If you find it attractive because it's European, that may be a problem, but if you find it attractive because you just find it attractive, that will make sense. One of the things that especially women, they went through this thing where it's natural versus, versus like with the makeup and the weaves and whatever, all like that kind of stuff. And one of the things I say, we are the few species, or our race, our culture, black women, we can go from one end to the other. And one of the things that started happening is that the system, I don't know, whatever you want, they try and pit us together, and they find little things that they can pit us against each other with, okay? Your hair is straight, and I'm natural. Therefore, I can have something against you. You're light skinned and I'm dark skinned. Therefore, I can have something against you. You're really curvy and I'm really slim. But black men like the thick. So therefore, I can have something against you. I say we need to cut that out. I think that we should own and embrace who we are, what we like, not based on Europeans, not based on the system, but we should embrace whatever it is, that we feel we're comfortable with. We can wear our weaves if we want to. We can wear the afros if we want to. We can wear the braids if we want to. And we're the only culture that can do that.
Would you say
we can go back and forth, and that's a beautiful thing.
Would you say that there's something that's wrong with somebody that intentionally wants to bleach their skin to identify?
I think any form of self-hatred.
Okay.
Any form of self-hatred is not good, and it's wrong. So anything you do, I mean, whether it's, cut yourself or any form of violence or self-hatred that you lodge against yourself, that is a problem. So if you're bleaching your skin because, you just don't want to be the color, just say, for instance, that you are the color that God made you, because you're so dissatisfied and you hate it so much, that's the problem, because there are some people, they put bleach on their skin because maybe something is happening, like with their complexion or, some type of whatever. It has to do with dermatology. So, but to do it as a form of self-hatred, that's not good.
Do you think, I'm going to turn around and ask you the other question, do you think that some people are abandoning their cultural stance and their natural beauty because of some self-hatred that they may have in front?
I think your natural beauty is whatever you can naturally attain.
No, I was talking about people. I'm talking about people saying, you know what, it just ain't white enough.
I haven't met anybody that says it's not white enough.
But there's some people out there with minds like that.
Right, I'm sure there are. But I haven't run into anybody that says, to themselves or to people around me, that's just not right enough. I just haven't run into them. And I'm sure they're out there.
I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and maybe I can get rid of all that stuff.
And no, that's a form of self-hatred. And even when white people want to act black and they reject their Irishness or Italianness or Polishness or whatever it is, that's a form of self-hatred. You know, anytime you reject who you are, you're looking at somebody that's dealing with a sense of self-hatred for whatever reason. And for black people to do it, yeah, we see it, and it's not pretty to look at. You know, but the thing is that there's a form of self-hatred that may have come from a cultural bias or a cultural, you know, maybe they learned it, maybe they just feel it, I don't know. But that's not cool.
I think, but see, again, I think that they may be looking at it as the stigma was to be loved by their slave masters. They had to assimilate and try to become like their slave masters, and their slave masters never really grew to love them. But I'm looking at it from a man's point of view. I can never see it from your point of view.
Okay, this is the thing. Here's the thing, Cliff.
I'm listening though.
Okay, here's the thing. When you have babies, well, as you can see, I'm dark skinned. I have been all my life. Didn't change colors. It's just the way I am. But this is the thing. When you grow up.
Okay. Excuse me for 1 second. We got a telephone caller.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello.
How you doing?
I have a question.
Yes.
Listen, I have a bad connection. Let me call you right back.
Okay. We can hear you out here.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know, and I want to, you know what, go to something else so you could
Wait a minute. I was going to address that, if you don't mind, the last statement that you made about, oh my goodness. Well, I guess we have to go on because I was about to address whatever you said before, just before the phone call.
You know what I would like to ask you.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. I am a black person. I am dark skinned. I grew up that way. One of the things that, thank God, you know, my mom taught me was that I never thought I was ugly. I never thought I was too dark. I never thought I was too, you know, anything. That is the job of the parents, to do their best to instill a sense of self-esteem in their children, regardless of what they were going through. And when I was growing up, it was a real thing about the, you know, the light skin and dark skin.
James Brown says, "Say it loud, I'm black and more proud," and that.
Yeah, and some people, I mean, but you know, but it was real about the dark skin and the light skin. So what happened with me is that my mother had enough wisdom, you know, to instill in us girls and, you know, the guys or whatever, that there was nothing wrong with me. My brother was light skinned. I mean, it's like, you know, you beautiful, you know, my beautiful black child or whatever. It's like that gave me a sense of that was beautiful. And then in third grade, I believe it was third grade, I had a teacher. She was probably the color of.
What's her name?
Mrs. Gaines.
Oh, Miss
Gaines. But she was the color of, I don't know, she was like much deeper chocolate and brown. I thought she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in my life. So that's one of the things, is that the people who are, they may be Afrocentric, they may be just Americanized or whatever. You know, you have kids that are looking at those women, girls that are looking at those women, and they're deciding right then, you know, whether how they look at themselves and whether they're worthy or not. So we have to be very careful of how we talk, the men, the fathers, how you talk to your, you know, daughters. If they're licensed, you can't make, I have we have a dark, like a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old. One of them is really, really light, and almost look Puerto Rican, and the other one is dark. And this woman came up to me and basically, you know, said that the light-skinned one wasn't as pretty as the black one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? Because she was going to this Afrocentric, you know, type situation. And I got up there and I said, no, they're both beautiful. They're both black and they're both beautiful. We come in different sizes, shapes, and colors. We cannot get hung up on, you are blacker, you know, I'm blacker than you because my hair looks a certain way. I'm blacker than you because my skin is a certain color, you know, and yours not. That is not the way to go. And we need to really think about that and stop doing that, because what are we doing to our children? You know, what are we telling them? We're messing with their heads, right? What are we telling them?
You putting some type of self-hatred in their own minds.
Yes.
But you know what? I want to, you know what? Also go to another aspect of relationships. There are ladies out there. For some reason, they are in bad relationships, and they refuse to leave those bad relationships. And they know the guy may be beating them up, may be taking his money, may be taking her money, may be manipulating her. Why would a female subject herself to that? And could you talk to them?
Well, one of the things that happens.
Excuse me, we got a telephone call.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, a very interesting show, but let me start by saying I also come from a family where it seems that the light-skinned relatives had favor over the dark-skinned relatives. But my question, simply speaking, does all of this mean that Spike Lee was right? Spike Lee talked about the different shades within the family, the different colors within the family. Now, we know where all of that came from. All of that came from the fact that many of the slave owners could not stay in their bedroom, could not stay in the house. They went to the slave quarter for some fun. They went to the slave quarters and made babies. But again, my question is, does that mean that Spike Lee was right? The fact that we should have been discussing this a long time ago, because unfortunately many families did put a greater emphasis on light-skinned children and light-skinned relatives than anything else. I'll hang up and listen to your comment.
Okay, thank you, caller. I can't answer that.
Well, what happened is that, first of all, when the masters went into the slaves and they had the babies, it's something that we just kind of, unfortunately, very unfortunately, we just kind of embrace the fact that white is right, you know, and because they had everything. We saw people with the light skins, with the white people, they had everything, you know, and we had nothing. Even the ones that didn't have much had more than we had, or, you know, were looked at differently than we were looked at. So I think what happened is that we grabbed on to that way of thinking, and we brought it into our families. And these kids that came out, their hair was maybe a little bit curlier, or, you know, straighter. Maybe their nose, which everybody was calling, you know, the African look. Yeah. They were saying it was animalistic. Heck, they were saying that we were 3/4 human or something like that.
Constitution or something. It's somewhere in the Constitution.
Right.
Can I ask you
something?
So
that's it. We just invited that into our homes, into our families. And that's one of the reasons why I told them, no, they're both beautiful. They're both black. So, you know, we need to, that's another thing we need to put behind us.
Do you also remember when they did the case study and they asked the children which doll was beautiful and which doll was ugly? And basically the majority of them said the black doll was ugly, but the European doll was beautiful. These were black children, but that's something else though. I thought that, you know what, I forgot what year that case study took place.
I know about that one.
And,
yeah, I know about that one. And people have their idea. I know when I was growing up, the white dolls were prettier because they made them that way. They didn't, and then one year, my sister, she got a little black doll. Oh my God, it just changed my whole outlook because it was so pretty. I don't know, they started making them pretty or whatever, but they used to just deliberately, you know, make the black doll look kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to, just go back. It was a question that, it's another telephone. Go ahead, telephone caller, beat the drums. Go ahead.
Yes, you guys having a great show. Brother Clifton, Minister Ben Willis. And I would like to ask Alaikum Salam, your esteemed guest, Miss Kay. The question I want to ask, on the whole, do you think the black man respects and protect the black woman?
Do you think he can protect the black woman?
Do I think that he can
protect the black woman?
I think that black men, I really believe the majority of black men, they have that in their heart to protect the black woman. I think that most black men, I think that that's their goal, but I think that sometimes they get discouraged along the way because of the things that they have to deal with. So I think that a lot of them, they can just, lose that edge of being protective. But overall, yes, I do. And I think that they want to, and I think that that's their goal. And I think that they love, their wives, their daughters, and they do want to protect them. Maybe how they protect us may not look governmentally, it may not look good, but that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to protect, their moms and their, daughters and wives.
You basically thought what the Black Panthers did was good, patrolling their own community and helping their people.
I think that was a beautiful thing. I think that was a beautiful thing, and I think that men, they have to be allowed to be men. And we women, we have to allow our men to be men. We have to allow it. So as far as the black man, yes, I think that he wants to protect. I think that, the things that he does, yes, sure, some of them, they just kind of get lost along the way, but, and some of them come back or whatever. But I think that, yes, they do.
Going back to relationships, and I would like for you to address this issue. How could a woman respect the man that she has to take care of? How could a woman respect the man that when she goes to work, he's sitting down looking at television, and she gets back home, he's looking at television and asking, damn it, where's the food at? How could a woman respect the man and he's not being supportive economically in a relationship? I'm not talking about if he gets hurt or look for his job.
Right.
Why would a woman even tolerate something like that? That's been something that I've always wondered to myself.
Yes. Well, a lot of times we have to understand that psychologically and emotionally, we all come from a place.
Okay.
Okay? We all come from a certain thing that was happening in our families. We all come from, certain communities. We all come from certain religions. All of that plays a part in what we will accept or not accept in our lives. And sometimes that what we gravitate what's familiar to us. So if we had, like, for instance, an absentee father, and this may be one person, we had an absentee father, and we felt like, wow, if my mom had just been more patient with him, if he had, if he had more opportunities. So some women, they want to make a situation like that, whereas they feel like it makes no sense, but they feel like, hey, in order to be a good woman, I gotta put up with this because I feel so bad for this man. Or they have low self-esteem where they feel like, I don't deserve much more. So it can go either one of those ways, and a lot of things in between. Yeah, so a lot of times, because women...
What would be your suggestion to a woman that is allowing a man to be a parasite, to suck the blood from her, and he's giving nothing in return? What would be your suggestion?
I would suggest that they would read Why Christian Women R/ should be sexy because I address that, and that if you have to.
No, we can't say that. But go ahead. Okay.
You have to feel comfortable with yourself first before you go attach yourself to a man or a relationship. And if you don't feel comfortable with yourself, then you're liable to end up with anybody or anything and people doing anything to you. You're not going to be in a good relationship, in a healthy relationship, you know, when you're not in a healthy relationship with yourself. So that's what I would tell them. You need to get in a healthy place with yourself. You need to figure out who created you, who you belong to, you know, and why you were put here. And it wasn't to be just abused and not have, you know, joy and purpose in your life. So that's what I would suggest. Step back, try and get to know yourself. The man doesn't have to go right then, because I tell you, when you get to know yourself and you get in a relationship with somebody that's higher, a higher power or stronger than you, then what's going to happen is that you're going to start acting a certain way. And that man, parasite, as you call it, they're either going to go,
okay,
or they're going to straighten up, or you're not going to be able to deal with them. You're going to have to leave.
You know what I always say to a woman, that a man will not do any more to you than you allow him to do.
Yes.
So if you allow yourself to submit to that, is that a man that would take advantage of that? I'm gonna say that person. That's really a man wouldn't even do something like that. But you know, it's something that I'm dumbfounded about, and you can give me another perspective. Why would a woman have relationships with a man, physical relationship with a man that he is not even married to? Why? Why would she submit herself to doing something?
Because we're used to seeing it.
If she truly loved herself, she would say, you know what? I will not let you use me as a slab of meat. If you love me, you would marry me. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know.
I like that. I will not let you use me as a slab of meat. Well,
all due respect to the women out there.
But I get it. Well, I think that it's
I will not let you live with me, and I'm not, you know what, I will not let you live with me, and you say you love me, but you ain't even got the love to put something on my finger to signify the love. Why?
Because society says it's okay. We see it every day.
That's right.
We see it every day. We see it, we read about it. It's like nobody bats an eye about that. So I don't think that they even feel like it's demeaning to them a lot. It's just the way it is. You know, people have sex before marriage. People have sex outside of marriage. You know, so the society, let me tell you, those at the top who have the money, you know, and to put certain programs on television, whether it's about living together, pre-sexual, you know, sex before marriage, you know, or adultery. We as a society, we just go along with it because we are not thinking for ourselves. But when you see it a lot, when you see something over and over, it normalizes it. So that's what's happening, Cliff. They're normalizing, you know, sex outside of marriage. They're normalizing, you know, it's no big deal to have, you know, kids outside of marriage. Everything is being normalized, but it's not good for us spiritually, you know, emotionally or mentally. It's just not good for us. But it's being normalized, so we do it and we do it and we do it.
Okay, you say it's not good, and I'm going to go somewhere else. Would you say that the woman that is not good for and identifies would think that it's okay for a man to lay down to when she's not married or live with somebody, that she's living with somebody she's not married to, and the man says he loves her? What does that say about the woman? He's really not doing anything but using her to cook his food, wash his laundry, keep her warm at night. If he cared about her and she loved herself enough, wouldn't she say, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate this type of behavior. If I'm wrong,
a lot of women are scared. They're afraid.
Low self, okay.
Yeah, they're afraid that,
what?
you know, they're afraid that they won't have somebody or they won't have that person. So they put up with a lot just so that they won't lose that person or, you know, that relationship, because they feel like, you know, they feel like it's, some women feel like this is what I can do right now. And then too, Cliff, we go back to it's normalized. It's normalized, and that is what's happening in society. A lot of things that are outside of healthy in households, with children, with teens, with, it's being normalized, and people are doing it, and they don't even bat an eye. You don't bat an eye. I don't. If somebody, you know, comes up to say, you know, hey, you know, this is my man, we're living together, we don't say, we just, I mean, the conversation just continues on. Nobody pays attention to it.
I pay attention to it.
Yeah, well, most people, Cliff, you pay attention to it. Most people, it's like, it's a thing of the past.
What you're telling me is for them to desensitize themselves like that, it's some type of love that they don't have for themselves that they're trying to give to somebody else. But how can you love somebody if you don't love yourself?
You can't love yourself until you know who you are.
Okay.
You cannot love yourself until you know who created you. You cannot love yourself until you know that there is a purpose for you on this earth. That's when the love for yourself kicks in, when you know those things. So you have to move in that direction of loving yourself, and then you'll find that you are somebody that's worth loving.
Can you send a message to a woman, a female that may going through that dilemma, that situation right now? Somebody's watching. Can you send a message to them?
Yeah. Well, the message that I would send to them would be, I don't care what kind of situation you're in. You know, first of all, you need to pray about it. And I don't mean that facetiously, like, you know, somebody say you pray. But what prayer does is it opens up your mind and it opens up your heart to what's really going on in your soul and what's going on in your head. So sometimes when those prayers come out and you're talking to God, so when I say pray, talk to God, to somebody who you believe has more power than you. You know, that not a man, you know, but I'm talking about the person that would have more power than any man. You talk to God, you tell him what's going on in your heart, you tell him how you're stuck, you tell them how you don't feel so good about yourself. You have to be honest. Once you start being honest with yourself, then your prayers will help you see what's really going on with you. And then you just have to believe that, okay, and this is just a universal truth. What they say, the truth shall make you free. Once you come to the truth and stop lying to yourself, that's what I would say. You know, get into those prayers where you know it's just you and God, and stop lying to yourself about your situation and deal with it for what it is.
Oh man, this is great. You know, this is great talk. And like I said, this is a live call-in show, and you know, with our permission and her husband's permission, I'm gonna have you back if that's okay. And and you know what for the upcoming year, what's the future of your show? What future events and how are you gonna work to change, to transform, to, you know, do your show, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I think that for the future of our show, what we're going to do, we're going to be looking for talent, more talent, but we're also going to be doing, I want to do the play segments more, because the writers were great, the actors were great, everybody was great. And I also want to do more music selections, and I want more younger, I want more younger kids on there, you know, who that blossoming talent.
How do they get in, you know what, like the viewer down there, how do they probably saying, damn, I got talent. How do they get in contact you? Do they call you? Do they email you? What do they do?
Well, they can just, you can email me at Audry Kay today, that's AUDREYKAY today @gmail.com, and just let me know, hey, I got a talent. I got a grandchild that's got a talent. I got a nephew that's got a talent. Because I just heard the other day, Cliff, somebody said something. I said, well, I don't ever want to forget this. And that is when we pray, we're speaking to God. But when we're in our arts, when we're in the arts and in talent, that is God given an opportunity. God is being given an opportunity to speak through us, you know, to others. And I really like that, because now it's an opportunity in order for me to let God just flow through me, through my fingers, through my voice, through my body, you know, even, you know, sports. It's an opportunity to do that. So we want to give people an opportunity to let God flow through them. On stage and entertain, you know, the world. Let people say, hey, good people out here with great talent.
Yes, good people with good talent. And you know what, I like your banner. The banner is so, it's like, I gotta get me, no, I better stay who I am. But you know what, you see her stage is just so beautiful. And you know what, and you bring on very, very talented people. And you know what, this is just a show. Is, you know what, you should take time out. I put it on your DVR. I don't even know how to do that. You know, and yeah, I record it, and not just record it. You need to tell a friend. To tune in the Audry Kay show, because you know this is phenomenal, and you know what, it's gonna grow, because you know what, it's helping young people and older people to display the talents that they have.
And that's so important, because we want to reach all generations. You know, we don't want to just be a show that have talented kids or talented young folk. We want to have talented kids, young folk, middle-aged, older people, and we want to just put all that out there on a stage. And everybody, we like the testimony that people have wherever they are, you know, on their journey. Yeah, and we also do one thing that I like that we do. We talk to people that have made it through something.
Yes.
What did it take for you to make it through something? Maybe I can make it through something if I listen to what you're saying that you did in order to let you make it through something. So that's very important for us on Today with Audry Kay. That story. So if you have a story that you know, that you can tell that you think would help someone to make it through just a difficult time or a difficult season in their lives, you can definitely contact me at audreyktoday@gmail.com. I love to hear that. We love that.
Yeah, man, you know what?
And authors, we love authors.
Well, you know what, I didn't even have a chance, because we're talking, I didn't even get the chance to get through all the questions, but what I would like to do is have you and Grady's host of his show come on, and like I said, I had to be more inclusive this year and not be so male chauvinist and be exclusive. And I had to become inclusive, because if I continue to do the same things that I did last year, I would be in inertia, which is a state of non-movement. If I don't make the change, I'd be in the same state. So
well, I commend you on that, because a lot of people, which is one of the things that I grapple with that just upsets me so much, a lot of people, they need to change and they don't change. So when you run into a person that knows or feels that they need to change and they're willing to change, you know, that's refreshing. That's refreshing.
The majority of us are flawed. I'm flawed.
Yeah, I mean, and the, you know, 2020 is coming. I mean, that's 2020 vision. You know, that's being able to see things clearly. So and that's one of the things that I'm going to do this 2020, try and see things more clearly in 2020.
So, you know, I want more dynamic and well-spoken females, people of the gender, to come on the Underground Railroad, and you know what, you can call us. And this is one other question, because we only got 5 minutes left, 4 minutes left. Something I would like for you to do. There's a woman out there that is looking at this, probably petrified. She's been abused, she's been slapped, she has a black eye, and she is just scared to get out of the relationship. Can you send a message to the women that may be in a situation like that? Now, they may see it later on.
Well, the message, like I said earlier, that I would send is that you don't deserve it. I know somebody probably told you, I know you probably kind of feel like that on the inside, but you have to realize that you don't deserve to be in a relationship like that. That there are ways, there are organizations out here that can help you get out of that situation. So the first thing you have to do is to admit to yourself, this is not working. This is not working for me, it's not working for my kids. So if you can do that, and then you reach out to the organizations that are out here that help abused and battered women, you know, and they will show you and give you a way, you know, out of that situation. Now, remember this, just because you tried before and you came back or it didn't work, don't let that stop you. One day, you're gonna step out of that door and you are not gonna come back. You're not going to even want to come back. And as I said, also, you have to pray. Have those prayers in your heart where you're talking to God and asking Him to help you get out of this situation. And here's the most important part. You have to believe it. You have to believe that God is a very present help and He will help you out. Because if you don't believe it, yeah, you're right, you'll go back, but you have to believe that that's what He's here for. Times like these.
And one other, we have 2 minutes, I think 2 minutes. One other, what would you say to women that are being used and manipulated by men? And the women have low self-esteem where they're being used to do the man's laundry, they're being used to watch his babies, being used to just use as, well, we can send a message to them.
Well, what I would say to them is stop. Stop and begin figuring out ways to heal yourself. That's what I would say. Stop and start doing things that are healing to yourself until you can get to that place, because people they just want you to just say, okay, that's it, I'm done. It does not work like that. There's a process that has to go on. And one part of the process is that you have to work on healing yourself. So that's what I would say to people that are in that situation. Work on healing yourself. Talk to people. You have a pastor, you have, you know, if you can get to some psychological help, you have a wise aunt, uncle, you know, talk to people and begin healing yourself. And people, when they come talking to you, don't expect them to just drop everything because your words were just so wow.
The world is crumbling.
It doesn't work.
I want to thank you for accepting the invitation, and I also want to thank your husband too. That's just the way I am. But watch the Audry Kay show, and watch the Underground Railroad TV show. We come on every Saturday night at 10:30, and we're working to make some changes. You know, peace and blessings to everybody, and send me some suggestions, send me some criticisms, because this is how I'm going to grow. I'm not going to grow by this praise. I've learned more about people kind of sort of beating up on me than just praising me.
Oh, wow.
Because, you know,